Hello. Hello, Manogard. You're the only one I see in chat so far. Feels like it's been forever, but it's only been a week. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to deal with some technical issues. For some reason, this screen and only this screen was completely frozen even before I even started stream. So, why that was happening, I don't really know. Hello, Brian. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. It feels like it's been forever, but it's literally just been a week. Yes, Miller's Alien Speculations. You sent this, I believe, in Discord. You sent it like right at the end of stream or like right after stream last week. Now I gotta check. I'm pretty sure you sent it. Yeah. He just has too much good stuff to just completely ignore. And so, not unfortunately, well, fortunately, my summer vacations are very end of summer heavy. So I was gone last weekend. I'm gone this next weekend, so I'm missing another Sunday stream. And because of that, it's been hard to plan with like a guest. But I am having a guest. She's really excited to come on. Um, I think she's gonna come on this coming Wednesday. We'll have to see. I think that's kind of where we're hovering around. We're going to talk about alien breeding and chromosomes and chromosome segregation and all that stuff. More of a speculative biology sort of thing. No one has ever mated with an alien, so we're not quite sure how that would work, but we're pretty sure how it would work because humans can't mate with other animals. We can't successfully reproduce with other animals is what I should say. Um, Even though we are way more related to every animal on planet Earth relative to every alien anywhere else in the universe. So, but we're gonna figure that out. And speaking of aliens, yeah. So you had this. You brought this to my attention. The evolutionary psychology of extraterrestrial intelligence. Are there universal adaptations in search, aversion, and signaling? Signaling. So I'm pretty sure I actually took a look at this a long time ago on stream. Long time ago for me, as in like 3 months ago. I don't think I really read much about it, honestly, because I think at the time I was looking for more figure-based papers. But yeah. If the seeded worlds theory holds up, then it might work. That's a big if, though. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. I mean, if you think about it, we at the very least, last time we had a common ancestor with an alien would have been 1.4 billion years ago. And the last time we had a common ancestor with, like, I don't know, rabbits was like 30 million years ago, and we can't reproduce with rabbits. Hello, Alt Miss Frizzle, and hello, David. Welcome. David, if today you want to learn about endogenous retroviruses, or HERVs, human endogenous retroviruses, or HERVs, we can definitely talk about that. Nothing specific on the docket, except for what we find interesting, because I have not had time to plan for this week. So, let's look at the abstract. So, to understand the possible forms of extraterrestrial intelligence, ETI, we need not only astrobiology theories about how life evolves given habitable planets. So this is what I think was the sort of stream topic when we talked about this last. But also evolutionary psychology theories about how intelligence emerges given life. I can't read today. Wherever intelligent organisms evolve, they are likely to face similar behavioral challenges in their physical and social worlds. The cognitive mechanisms that arise to meet these challenges may then be copied, repurposed, and shaped by other evolutionary selections to deal with more abstract, higher level cognitive tasks such as conceptual reasoning, symbolic communication, and technological innovation, while retaining traces of the earlier adaptations for solving physical and social problems. So basically saying, like, if life exists as we understand it, and intelligent life arises from that life, they probably act a certain way. Oh, Miss Rosa, you had a block day, so you taught from 7:15 to 3:30 today with a 30-minute lunch. Yikes, that's yeah, that is rough. I mean, so on my teaching days, I like drive 4 hours total, have some office hours, I have a bunch of prep time, and then an hour and 15-minute class time. And I think that like knocks the wind out of me. I cannot imagine at this moment in my life teaching that much. I had a long lab day today though, so at least I can commiserate with that. This is like extrapolations about speculations about speculations about and so on. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is mostly going to be okay. So astrobiology. Wait. Biological theory. Actually, we should look up this. Oh, that's going to be weird. We should look up this journal. Accept all cookies, Springer. Let's see. Because I'm just kind of wondering what they normally publish. I've certainly never heard of it, biological theory. But this seems like more of a like talk sort of speculative paper. And Peter Todd, I don't recognize that name. This could have been just two friends having fun. So let's see. Stanford in 92. I wonder if he and Geoffrey Miller, our friend Geoffrey Miller, went to the same school. Let's check it out. Stanford 1993. Oh, wait. Yeah, Stanford 1993. Where was he? Stanford 1992. I bet they knew each other. Yeah. Better have Peter Todd than Peter Griffin. On a scientific paper, definitely. Unless. I mean, that doesn't seem like that weird of a name. Porous Algan-based ultraviolet distributed Bragg reflectors by Peter Griffin, first author. Yeah, it's a fun as a what if conversation. Yeah, they took a what. I think these two are friends, and then they had a what if conversation, and they decided to turn it into like what is this, a how many page paper? Is it like 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. A 10-page paper. You did a lab today. Also, kids argue about wearing goggles around chemicals. Like they don't want to. Do you not have the Carol posters? Those were a formative part of my education. Carol safety glasses poster. Yeah. Oh, you can buy these. Where's the original? I actually attempted to purchase one from the original source, but they wouldn't sell it to me because I myself was not an education like facility. I can't get a good picture. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Flynn Scientific. They wouldn't sell them to me. It was fun though. Oh, the lab. I did just say Peter Griffin. Did you not see that? Peter Griffin. Yeah, right here. First author, Peter Griffin. He utilized dislocation-related vertical etching channels in gallium nitride and previously demonstrated a simple electrochemical etching process that can create layered porous gallium nitride structures to form Bragg reflectors. Duh. You told them to look. Wait. You told them they look better with both eyes. Yeah. One of my college OChem courses had a laboratory manager who had a glass eye as a result of an accident in a chemical lab. So, he was pretty on top of things when it came to safety in lab. Peter Todd. Okay. Biological theory. Okay. So what do they say? So they demonstrate such analyses in these domains, which, they just talk about it. I don't know if that's demonstrating. Knowing the likely evolutionary pathways to intelligence will help us better search for and process any alien signals from the search for ETIs SETI. Thank you for that. And to assess the likely benefits, costs, risks of humans actively messaging eddies or MEDI. I don't know why they require these. You think you're too drunk for this? Wednesday is your beer day? I mean, whatever. I don't mind. Do with what you want with your Wednesdays. If I didn't have like a really, really long day coming up tomorrow, I would have a beer. But instead I have my ginger sparkling water. Who knows? I might go get a beer. Okay. So what do they actually say here? And do they say anything, A, interesting, B, fun? Is kind of what I was wondering as I was skimming through this before. Let's see. So somehow they are trying to convince us that they know, what we possibly could look for ETI signals. I hate how they just keep saying SETI and MEDI and EDI, ETI. I don't know. I know it's pronounced SETI, so I don't know if you say EDI or MEDI. I don't know. So, assuming they do not know much about whether their target audience is nice or nasty, strategically prudent ETIs, assuming that ETIs are prudent, would not want to send a signal that advertises the location of their home, world, or colonies to avoid triggering the search strategies of any resource-hungry or aggressively curious aliens that might receive such a signal. And then they have a citation. He managed to refer to his own papers on mating and intelligence. I'm kind of not surprised. Scientists do that. I will look down here in the... oh. Okay, well, hold on. I mean, he is citing a lot of papers. I just see his own, where he's the first author. I'm just going to search Miller. Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, but I'm... Yeah, 11. Out of, and they don't number that, but I mean, that's not that many. Yeah, I don't know. He publishes a lot, so maybe it's not super, maybe it's not super weird. I don't know. He publishes a lot. Miller. But what about Bud and Coors? Bush Pabst, more like. Yeah. They're probably co-authors on... They've got to be co-authors on some of these papers. Where is he? Where is he located? Where are you? Oh, I closed it. Joffrey. Oh, he's in New Mexico. I was wondering if like Mary Jane was also a co-author on some of these papers. Um, Cognitive exaptations for extraterrestrial intelligence. Okay, well that's something new. What else is he? I should search that. I'm gonna search that. Because did he publish more on aliens than I'm thinking? Because let's see. Mating, sexual selection, indicators of intelligence, evolution of human music through sexual selection, how did language evolve, probably about sexual selection. I think he would say that sexual selection is like the most important thing ever. Which, it's pretty important. Considering how much he publishes, that's not a lot, but it's clear he has his pet theories, so you're not surprised you see to see this tied back to some of that. Yeah, no. I think that's the sense I'm getting. I'm getting the sense. I think we talked about this last time. It seems like he's he's a fan of his own ideas, and he likes to tell us about his ideas. He's in sussy baka land. Definitely with some of this research. Okay, I saw this. Why we should not yet send our own signals. Meti. So let's see. He basically is saying, oh, I was reading this before. Oh, in other words, a naive Meti signal allowances. Here is a delectable treat, a homeworld with valuable and easy to acquire resources, lightly guarded by a gullible young species. Well, I do kind of agree with that. As described earlier, life everywhere evolves to deal with patchy resources and to search for those resources efficiently, using the explore-exploit trade-offs from optimal foraging theory. Optimal foraging theory. At a cosmic level, the limiting resources for supporting organic life, habitable planets, water, oxygen, are extremely patchy. That is true, and likely to be contested by life forms that evolved using similar biochemical bases in similar habitats. That also is probably true. He has some ideas here that I think are just fine. A stream about speculative genetics made from molecules other than speculative genetics from other molecules than what's involved with regular DNA would be nice. Like, what if you could replace C, like carbon? Because there's also C, like ATCG. C is one of them. But I think you mean carbon with another element. I mean, we can look that up. We can talk about that right now. Yeah, this man is a jack of all trades. His research is everywhere. Absolutely. I mean, like this kind of, I just don't know why. I don't know why this needed to be published. Okay, so how do we send a signal that are just right in terms of formidability? Neither an imminent threat nor a bunch of exploitable simpletons. So he's probably not going to describe at all that. Blah, blah, blah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My eyes just caught a word. If we reveal details about our sexuality, mating, or erotica, we will likely provoke sexual disgust. Since ETI's mate preferences will not match our phenotypes. Well, I don't know. I think we're a pretty attractive species. What did this paper add to the body of knowledge? Yeah, that's basically my own question. See, I'm gonna look up the journal right after I'm kind of done with this. I want to see what else they published. Yeah. Okay. If we reveal what we consider to be our highest ethical standards, oh, now he's done with sexuality. Shoot. That's the most. This is the. Okay, you can tell who wrote what sentences. I feel like this sentence is a Geoffrey Miller. Without knowing anything about Todd, I think Geoffrey Miller wrote this sentence. And that leads me to believe that Todd wrote this second sentence. He's making some pretty odd and Puritan-leaning assumptions. Yeah. Like, okay, so he's supposing that a species is super advanced enough to possibly come and contact us directly, and he's concerned about them being so narrow-minded that they're disgusted by the way human, well, not even human, but like mammalian, vertebrate, or earth species reproduce. I mean, if they're literally, galaxy exploring aliens, they've probably seen some weird stuff. It's teaching us a lot about Miller. That's something, yeah. He's talking about Vulcans, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, Vulcans have that constant air of slight disgust related to everything humans do. So I bet that's it. For once, my music is actually too low. Why are you projecting your puritanical beliefs onto aliens, Joffrey? Use your psychology to do some introspection, sir. Yeah, exactly. I just saw the word memes. Hold on. I need to read this sentence now. And if we prefer... Okay. It goes Joffrey right here. Then Todd. Sorry, Todd. And then I feel like before even I read it, this is Joffrey again. And if we proudly display what we cherish as our most fascinating achievements in the arts, humanities, sciences, and religions, these might provoke intellectual disgust and be treated as infectious memes deserving informational quarantine rather than as cultural achievements deserving serious analysis. You know what? That is a little bit of projecting, but that's kind of like a colonial mindset. Well, maybe not. I feel like colonial mindset is like inferiority of other cultures relative to the colonizer. But I mean, maybe all aliens aren't as bad as us. Miller hates memes. Yeah, exactly. Memes is the word that I saw, and then I wanted to read the sentence. It's actually not that, Oh, hold on. Meme containment protocols. Perhaps Miller breezing to our intellectual egos, our proudest cultural achievements conveyed through meti may not provoke intellectual disgust and meme containment protocols. Merely boredom. Oh, sad. He's above the memery. Okay, now my music's too loud. I hate this playlist. By the way, I told you about moths coming to my place to die. Yeah, you did. Just today, a moth eliminated itself by flying into my Ukrainian borscht. Oh, so sad. Maybe he just wanted to have some. So, yes, I did say he's in New Mexico. Is this our very own JP? Ooh, actually, that's a good call. Wait, did that not work? Why didn't I see... I didn't see a Starship Enterprise go by. Why is that? Hold on now. It did not? I can't even redeem it. What? What is going on? Maybe some of those rewards are broken at the moment because... Hold on, let me check something. Huh. I don't know why that didn't work. Yeah, that's sad. See, because I think my technical issues before I came on were related to something about, the chat rewards. Like, everything was frozen. Whoa! David, thank you for the resubscription. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, I appreciate it. It is, yeah. Oh, yeah. An email told me that I should advertise this, but it is September. Apparently, 20% plus off subs. Meh. I appreciate it a lot, but you know. Um, uh-oh. Community challenge 75% complete. Okay, I didn't know what that was gonna say. Uh, that's such a specific number. Oh, yep. Thank you, Almost Frizzle, for contributing to that, and Brian, and David. Oh wow, what's gonna happen when it's reached? I don't know if I get like a flash or something like that. Yeah, no, the subs. It'd be awesome to have like 25, only so I upgrade or I can redeem the next tier of emotes. But it is not worth pushing for because we're far away from that, and I don't care that much. I'd rather just get the free emotes by myself personally just streaming more. Anyways, okay. Blah blah blah. He talks more. Okay, I'm more interested. I'm sorry. I am more interested in whether or not he has ever spoken to Jordan Peterson. That's who JP is, right? Miss Frizzle, that's who you mean? Because that's who I took you to mean. Oh yeah, David, the TNG alert. I'm glad that works. So stuff's broken, but also not broken. I must have to update something somewhere. Okay, just making sure we're on the same page. We absolutely were. Okay, I don't actually really care. I don't care about this one. Okay, Joffrey Miller, Jordan. Oh. Uh-oh. Everyone was having OBS issues today? There we go. It looks like all the rewards might be broken. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice a jump scare. And you can refund points? That's great. I had no idea you could do that. Wait, how do I do that? Whatever. I don't know how to do it. Thank you for figuring out how to do that. And I'm glad I'm not the only one who is having OBS issues. Okay. I feel like... Uh-oh. I'm clicking on multiple links here just to kind of go through it. Oh, you can do it through the mod screen. Interesting. All right, Joffrey Miller. Oh, he's replying to Joffrey is replying to JP. But does JP ever reply back? Okay, not in this. Maybe. Not in this thread. Oh yeah. What is he actually talking about? Are psychedelics poison? Preview of your podcast, blah blah blah. Okay, Jordan Peterson. Psychedelics also played an important role in many behavioral science insights and movements over the last 70 years or so, but that intellectual history is hidden behind a wall of stigma and silence. I actually don't know if that's true. Maybe someday we'll fill in those blanks. I'm curious to read more about this claim if you could point me to the right direction. It's based mostly on personal conversations with scientists who prefer to remain anonymous. Yeah, it's my scientist friends from Canada. You wouldn't know them. Reporting first-hand and second-hand experiences. Second-hand experiences it's called hearsay. OBS gave Levelhead the blue screen of death earlier. It was fixed, but still, you've heard a lot of people having issues the past few days. Wait, Miller is polyamorous? And you think he has some serious internalized heteronormativity and monogamy culture that he is projecting that? Oh, I definitely clicked on something that said polyamorous. Okay. Oh, this is a video. Okay. Oh, a joint interview with the most high-profile polyamorous couple in academia. Diana Fleischman, Search You, and Geoffrey Miller are both evolutionary psychologists. They make the case for why they believe they might be a new relationship model for the 21st century. Okay. Wait. Oh, I thought that said Rebel Wilson. Well, we might as well. Can you hear that? Hold on. Can you hear that on stream? Yeah, I thought Rebel Wilson had something to do with it. Oh, you can't hear it. Can't hear it. Okay. Okay, hold on.
The fact that you're now kind of
Now you should hear it.
the poster academics for this subject.
But there aren't nearly enough other people.
Yeah, one thing you realize that if you get into debates about polyamory versus monogamy, you know, it was said by a lot of folks in the alt-right, politics is downstream of culture. But culture also...
I don't know if I want to watch this, to be honest. TBH. We can click around a little bit. And I saw that you couldn't hear it. Oh, hello, James. How are you? How is the lab set up? Aren't you, shouldn't you be settling in or settled in by now? Last time we talked via Discord, I feel like you were just about or had just moved. I love the axolotl.
So apparently is downstream of the mating system. So if you really want to get people riled up, you challenge the mating system that actually dominates, you know, relations between the sexes, but also family structure and has...
You're getting there. Been there in the position for about 3 weeks now. Yeah, I thought that felt about right. Are you teaching this first year, or does that, or actually, I don't even know if you have teaching responsibilities, but I know you can kind of defer that depending on your contract and startup and all that. We're looking at some people with interesting ideas. Hopefully be putting in the big orders this next few weeks. That's exciting. That's got to be fun. And no teaching this year. Nice. You could turn that man into a drinking game, mating this, mating that. I think great drinking game. I think maybe another drinking game is every time he's clearly trying to legitimize or compensate for something. Yeah, you feel like he wants to relate everything to sexual selection. It's kind of like it feels like a little bit of a cheat. Like there's natural selection, artificial selection, sexual selection. So you have a 1/3 chance of relating whatever concept in biology to one of the three. Okay. Okay, so I have his PubMed search up here somewhere. So we already went over this, right? Last week, penis size and vaginal orgasm. I almost said organism. Sexual selection for moral virtues. Yeah, all that. I should really search them together. It gets into really weird territory really quick. Yeah. Yes, very much so. Wait. Women's fertility across the cycle increases the short-term attractiveness of creative intelligence. Let's see. Female orgasm rates are largely independent of other traits, implications for female orgasmic disorder, and evolutionary theories of orgasm. I keep saying organism. Okay, I gotta look up Miller and what was her name? Who's the third one? Fleischman. What a series of words. Or what is this series of words? Short-term attractiveness and creative intelligence. Yeah? I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to get at. Whoa. Okay. I do not think they are on any papers together. All right. Let's go back and listen. Okay, let's see what. Oh, they just talk and talk and talk.
Knock-on effects on everything from kind of the design of housing and urban spaces to the design of careers, and the extent to which people can kind of use freedom of association to form little families or polycules or communes or whatever.
Wait, what do you say? Polycules? Polyjoules?
And as soon as you kind of shake the tree of monogamy and challenge that, people panic and they think, like, what else might have to change if this is ever questioned?
We actually don't really pay that much attention to other polyamorous people because we think that a lot of what other polyamorous people endorse is actively harmful. So not to put too fine a point on it, but yeah, I always like to say that we don't endorse it. We just talk about how it can work for some people and about how.
All right. I mean, without making too fine a point of it myself, I feel like the way they're jumping into that that's reasonable, right? They just want to do their thing and they're not endorsing or like trying to be up in your face about it, potentially. Doesn't seem horrible. Oh, she has some weird papers. You don't say. Yeah, and James, I saw that you said that she has a Google Scholar page. Whoa, the Diana. Oh, hello. Is this her? Yes, this is her. All right, we are going to let's look at her publications. Diana Fleischman. You're truly shocked. Oh, no. Oh, no, Diana. Oh, Diana. Is this okay? I almost can predict that. I almost bet this is gonna be one of those things where it's like, well, technically the dictionary definition of eugenics is XYZ, but come on, you know that what this title sounds like to people. Maybe she says no, it can't be defended. In recent years, bioethical discourse around the topic of genetic enhancement has become increasingly politicized. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We fear there's too much focus on the semantic question of whether we should call a particular practice and emerging biotechnologies such as CRISPR eugenics, rather than the more important question of how we should view them from the perspective of ethics and policy. Here we address the question of whether eugenics can be defended and how proponents and critics of enhancement should engage with each other. Yeah, talk problematic quote marks. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's see. Give me that full free text. Maybe it's a shock sort of thing. Okay, they're responding to another paper, it looks like. And they don't actually care. But they have the higher level question of whether eugenics can be defended at all. Much of the confusion of the debate, we fear, rests on merely the semantic question of whether we should call, or in this case, perhaps it would be better to say brand, the use of emerging biotechnologies like embryo selection and CRISPR as eugenics, or genetic enhancement, rather than the more philosophically important question of how we should view them from the perspectives of ethics and policies. Ew. If I want another rabbit hole for another day, you've been looking into what biohackers are getting up to. Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw David's, was it tweet or just mentioned on Discord that he was looking into biohackers, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to be a topic of a future stream of his or something. But no, you should, if you have a link or something, you should link it. The point of today's stream is to kind of just follow as many rabbit holes as we can until we get bored of them. Or I have to go to bed. One of those two things has to happen. Hello, Benjamin. What did you just tune into? Well, well, we're talking about Geoffrey Miller again, and then we found Geoffrey Miller's partner in polyamory is also an evolutionary psychologist with also interesting titles to some papers that maybe don't sound great at first, first blush. It's Miller time. Yeah, okay. Is it, wait, what? Merely on the semantic question. Okay, so they're arguing it's either the question of whether something should be call them eugenics rather than what they think is the more important question of how they should view them from the perspective of ethics and policy. Okay, so the term eugenics, which means good birth, so eu means good, gen means birth, was coined by Francis Galton. Good old Francis. Yeah, and blah, blah, blah. People liked it for a while. And then Nazis came along. Yeah. And now we understand eugenics as a different thing due to the cultural implications, which I think is a totally fine thing for a word to do. But yeah. Wow, this is a really tough stream for a first-time visitor. Yeah, it kind of is. I'm just kind of getting through this. Also, welcome, Schmonite. You didn't get a first-time chatter thing, and I don't quite remember when the first time you chatted was, but welcome. Yeah, no, I just want to find out whether or not... Hey, yikes. This rabbit hole is officially called the Yikes Rabbit Hole. From Jeffrey and Diana. Brought to you by Jeffrey and Diana. Okay. I kind of don't want to... Okay, I'm just going to skip to the end, because I kind of don't want to read this at... Oh. Yeah, okay. Yep, I don't want to read that. Proponents of genetic enhancement, if they endorse the label of eugenics, do so precisely because their positions are inevitably going to be labeled as eugenics by critics who want to shut down the debate quickly. Okay, yeah. Disability theorists who view their scholarship as a sort of activism for the rights and concerns of the disabled will continue to demand more engagement and citation of arguments critical of genetic enhancement and eugenics. Regardless of the term we use, the academic debate around it is polarized now. Okay. Interesting. So, critics of genetic enhancement, regardless of who they are, should attempt to see the arguments of enhancement proponents not as Nazi propaganda in disguise, but rather as honest attempts to defend the use of these technologies to improve well-being and autonomy. Okay, I think there's some more nuance to this, but I feel like you shouldn't just go throw around the word eugenics like this. Yeah. Let's see. You're sitting here with something very similar playing in your head. What music, what song should that be to? Schmonite and Manogard. Oops. Okay, wait. Oh, Jack and Diane, duh. Joffrey, Jeff, and Diane. Yeah. You're right. Okay, what else? Okay. Okay, we're gonna skip past this one. What else has Diana said? She also really likes to talk about orgasms and evolution. Sure, why not? What else? Show me more results. Brian, you said you found some interesting things, so if you want to link any, go ahead. Ooh, disgust versus lust, exploring the interactions of disgust and fear with sexual arousal in women. That's interesting. Oops. Yeah, you guess this is a good thing to have in common with your partner? Yeah. I wonder if they met at like a psychology conference and talked about the human evolution of sex and orgasms or something like that. The first one was really the one that caught your attention? Well, it caught my attention too. Okay. That was her most recent one. I hope she's not talking to Jeffrey too much. And the fact that they both like orgasms. Okay, let's look at that one. Wait. Oral contraceptives suppress ovarian hormone production? Is that not known? Oh, 2010. Huh, okay. Some of her stuff sounds pretty good and normal. Absolutely. Women's health focus and stuff. Yeah, I was some of the ones I didn't like say out loud sound like they could actually be quite interesting. Oh, testing the affiliation hypothesis of homoerotic motivation in humans, the effects of progesterone and priming. Interesting. Okay, but what was this evolutionary biologist perspective on orgasm? Blah 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 blah. Not a. I'm getting not so excited about this one. You're still not so sure about Joffrey and his penis size study, though. Yeah. Joffrey definitely has, he definitely likes to do a little bit more of the weirder stuff, very clearly. And David, I think those rewards just are not working at the moment. Actually, can I activate them? Nope. Interesting. I have a second button down here that I can press, but they're very clearly not working. Hold on a minute. Sorry, everyone. I'm very stupid. I did the wrong thing, and I hid everything. Is this like the stuff cited by manosphere folks when they go on about organisms don't matter because they're not necessary for reproduction? Possibly. Well, so... Okay, so in this paper, she will argue that intense sexual pleasure, especially orgasm, can be understood as a primary reinforcer shaped by evolution to reinforce behavior that facilitates reproductive success, i.e. conception through copulation. And then, an evolutionary account of social shaping. So this is like, I feel like this was the thought I had in my head, which makes me think that I've read it somewhere in like my own, like the human sexuality course that I took in college or something like that. Which maybe the manosphere is like totally misinterpreting research that's done by people like Dr. Diana Fleischman, who seems like a legitimate scientist. Joffrey's a little bit out of there, but what she's essentially saying is that no, the orgasms evolved specifically not because they are necessarily required for reproduction, like the biochemical act of reproduction, but it's totally required, at least for humans, or at least is a rewarding factor for humans for the overall act of like courtship and copulation altogether. Riker is now preparing to orgasm on the holodeck and also preparing to go for commander's tasks. Yeah, they have to wipe down the holodeck after Riker uses it. They say women's pleasure doesn't matter because orgasm isn't required, but you think it's the opposite. It would encourage long-term bonding. Exactly. I think that's kind of what, I mean, this sentence that I'm highlighting, I think is sort of suggesting that, right? The evolutionary view that it's a reinforcing mechanism. I mean, and also we're also taking kind of the manosphere takes a very like Western view. If to be fair, I am not like probably for good reason, I am not at all familiar with their arguments in air quotes. So I'm taking you at for your word. That you know that is what they believe or whatever, but there's certainly something I learned about in my own sexuality course is that there are lots of old civilizations that no longer exist, or extant civilizations like small groups, communities, tribes that view not just orgasm but female orgasm as a necessary component for reproduction, primarily because they don't, through no like fault of their own, don't understand the biochemical like process behind reproduction. Critical reasoning has been lost upon us. Oh, stay away. You wish you didn't know them, but you have students who are walking around saying these things they found on YouTube. Oh no, high school students. That's yikes. I feel so bad for you. And I feel bad for your students. I mean, they're so impressionable. That's not good. Okay, Diana, you're fine. You can be polyamorous with Jeffrey, but you know. What is this? Oh, there's a whole podcast with, well, he has his own podcast, but there's a podcast with Jeffrey. I think this is from when I was searching whether or not he knows Jordan Peterson. Oh, here we go. Joffrey? I keep saying Joffrey. I'm going to continue saying Joffrey. Or do I say Jeffrey? He has noticed that a lot of young men seem to be more interested in self-development and finding a meaningful place in life because of Jordan Peterson's call to excellence. Men are starting to ask themselves, what kind of man should I become? Is that a good thing? Yeah, that's their prime target audience. Yeah, young men, right? Boys, effectively. Maybe talk some sense into him for us, Diana. Yeah, what if she acts as like a cooling force? So he stops 3D printing penises to like confirm that women don't know what they're talking about or something? I forget what we decided he thought. So you were just about to ask, but you won't even try anymore. Yeah. The second point is interesting. Oh, second point. Young women don't seem to struggle with this in the same way because they mature faster and are more future-oriented. Joseph Campbell held the opinion that women were forced to see the suffering of the world much earlier than men, so they confront these questions at a younger age. Now, I have no idea about this. I feel like mature faster, that is... I think, in terms of like onset of puberty, that's true. Girls have been, due to changes in nutrition and environment, have been going through puberty earlier than they have in, at least in terms of, or in relation to historical averages. But I'm pretty sure boys catch up and it's a pretty equal thing. I might be misremembering that. The more future-oriented thing, that just sounds like some heteronormativity bullshit. However, this like women were forced to see the suffering of the world much earlier. That sounds like to me, it sounds like, not my opinion. I would love to hear people's opinions on this. I would not be surprised if the average woman in our society has to face more societal challenges than the average man. But the wording of this, we're forced to see the suffering of the world, kind of makes it sound like, all women have this natural maternal instinct and they can see through because of their motherly gaze. That sounds a little icky to me, but I don't know. Yeah, you're curious what they mean by suffering in the world. All science aside, if you want to bang someone, just do it, if they consent, of course. Yeah, no, I think that's what that's what Joffrey's opinion would be. Like, is it supposed to mean suffering in terms of how we are treated, or is it that we are, in quotes, too sensitive? See, I think what he's trying to say, I think he's saying both. He's saying that thing that a lot of men tend to say, which is the second part, that women, he's saying it without saying it, that women are too sensitive. But I don't know. What do you think about the idea that may be more true, that, women have more challenges in the world due to the treatment of them by men? So it's like both, but one side it's like, okay, yeah, maybe that probably happens. The other side is like, actually, that's kind of offensive. I don't know. You do need to look into it more, but Science Teacher Streamer was talking about how educators are much harder on and more critical of girls, especially in STEM. Yeah, I've heard similar things, but I don't know the numbers behind it. That would be interesting to look into, just personally. Yeah, it's sort of the same thing. Like, I remember that in relation to like math, like something about teachers treat girls learning math differently, and I'm pretty sure it was shown to like correlate with future performance. So if you have like, if you're like a third grader and your teacher kind of sort of talks to you a certain way, even if you're good at math, many years down the line, you are less likely to do something math related because of that reinforcement of like a societal stereotype. Stereotype being that girls aren't good at math, which is stupid, I think. That's interesting. All right. I'm going to click out of this. You've heard that anecdotally that male teachers in the past would tell girls it didn't matter for them to be good at math because they wouldn't need it anyways. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. David, and you're making a point about, yeah, so there is this, what is it called? So that's the manosphere thing. That's like, there's this like tough guy sort of like, not phenomenon, because it's been going on for like ever. I know what you're saying. The socialized aspect that men are supposed to act a certain way. I mean, it's unfortunately, I think, not just harmful on the men, but harmful on the like other people around the men. Not all men, of course. Mooncat has a wonderful video debunking the entire manosphere. If you have a link, you should share it. I don't think I'm going to put it on stream because I want to get a little bit away from this. But definitely share it. Okay, because finally, I wanted to look at the biological theory journal. Just really, really quick. Here we go. Your point is socialization is one thing, abusing that socialization is another. I see. That's a very fine point, because you're right. Like, we can, and we can sort of look to someone who's like a man's man of society, and think two things. We can look at that person and think like, wow, it's such a detriment that you're kept in such a narrow, heteronormative, like manly man vein. That is one thing. But then you're totally right. That person has obviously not abused that socialization. But you're right, there are other people who do abuse the socialization. It's a long video, you wouldn't watch it on stream because it's kind of tough to get through realizing these people are popular and serious. Thank you for this link. I am going to copy it. And by copy it, I mean totally click on it, but I'm going to move it over and mute it and watch it later. Oh. Stupid ad. All right. This biological theory. I don't think it's too exciting. Oh. Origins of consciousness or the war of the 5 dimensions? Serial homology. You just want to say, as a cis guy, you're tired of being expected to act in a certain, possibly abusive way. Yeah, I've seen like things, and I definitely feel this too, a little bit, like men being around children without like a obvious. Oh, I was about to say something that's like super heteronormative. Obvious caregiver, right? That's like dog whistle speak for just a woman, right? I feel uncomfortable sometimes being around children when like their mother is not around, because I feel this like weird societal pressure that like a man shouldn't be around a child, which is like absurd. Like, of course bad things happen, but I don't know. You know, people, I hope you know what I'm saying. See, this is why I want to move away from this, because I'm really bad at talking about this sort of thing. So I am going to defer to the wonderful videos that Alt Miss Frizzle is linking to. Oh. And what's this one? FD Signifier also did another good video. Ah!
Did I jump scare you? Yeah, I bet I did. You coward. You make me sick. Your weakness is pathetic.
Thank you. I was sorry. Sorry if I yelled. I was staring right at the screen, like right where I was trying to read something. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes, the chat rewards have been re-enabled, clearly. Maybe I'll keep that Star Trek one silent. I keep saying I'm going to add sound to it, but maybe I will keep it silent. Yeah. In regards to what I was saying, yeah, so many people are raised that way. You were shocked at the number of your friends whose husbands refuse to change their kids' diapers. Yeah, like this whole idea that like there's like two sides of that coin. It's like children are the domain of women in terms of all the work, but at the same time, you better not show any love, affection, or especially public displays of affection towards your child if you are a man. Ugh. Maybe I'll need a little break. Well, so that one's on a timer. So, and all the rewards are on a certain amount of like, you can't do too many all at once. Thankfully. Okay. I don't care about this anymore. This is something that came up. Click away. Do we want to read this paper that I think has all men, 4 men as the authors? Okay, J could be not a male name. Female orgasm rates are largely independent of other traits. Aim, to test hypothesized evolutionary function. Oh, wait, evolutionary function of female orgasm. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to skim these results real quick. Real quick. Although orgasm rates showed high variance across women and substantial heritability. Oh, substantial heritability. Interesting. They were largely phenotypically and genetically independent of other traits. Found 0 weak phenotypic correlations between all three orgasm rates? Why are there 3? and 19 other traits examined, including a fairly exhaustive list. Interesting. Oh, wait. These findings cast doubt on most current evolutionary theories about female orgasms' adaptive functions and on the validity of FOD as a psychiatric construct. So they suggest maybe that implications for female orgasmic disorder. So there's, I don't know what they're saying. Don't worry, David, we accept you. You don't have to, I mean, you're not the only non-biologist listening in. Thankfully. We need non-biologists. I might peruse this later. I'm not going to read it now. But speaking of David, I do want to look at Carol. I do want to look at non-carbon based nucleotides. So because I kind of looked at this before. What are they called? Xenonucleotides. Okay. Synthetic. Okay, because okay, we'll read this really quick though. Yesterday, your husband and you were talking about how some of the men at his job use their work to escape from their families. Ooh. His boss just had their first kid last week and told your husband, I finally understand why you're so eager to leave at 7 every day. I'm sorry. It's good to see some men are acknowledging your family is more important than your work. Yeah, absolutely. You're that as though FOD is often believed to be psychiatric in nature, the common association is cited for it to show minimal correlation in their results. So is that something we like? Is that something that's not good, but less problematic? Like if that can provide evidence that FOD is a physiological disorder that potentially can be treated and perhaps would push away any of the stigma of like, oh, it's all in your head. Because I think a lot of diseases that can be thought of as being in your head end up being stigmatized in a weird way, more so than other diseases that are more, not just diseases, disorders that are more visible. If your life is more important than your work, your life is more important than your work, even for some people. Yeah. Definitely not a biologist yet, anyway, over here. Are you trying to be a biologist? That's an interesting thing. Okay, so David asked a question about sort of, because we were like very earlier in the stream, we were talking about aliens, just briefly. And David had a question about nucleotides, like DNA, that don't have carbon, right? But I think David, what I think you should do is think about it a little bit more broadly. Xeno, got you thinking about Xenon, girl of the 21st century. Yeah, well, I think their names are related. So Xenon is clearly named after Xenon, like Xenon, and Xeno or Xene, that means alien or strange. So it should make you think about Xenon because it's the same root word. Perhaps biologist / animal behaviorist, but still not 100% sure. Well, cool. Well, glad you're here. I am definitely more not an animal behaviorist, more molecular. But you should go check out. Let's see, what is his actual Twitch name? Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. That's it. You should. Maybe you should check out Jack's facts. He talks a lot more about animals than I do. But I'm glad you're here. And Managard, you're not any type of scientist. You're just really good at processing written information, and you love to learn stuff. That's pretty clear. Yeah. Yes, David, that's what I was going to get to. Nucleotides that are not made of what we usually know of as part of the genetics. Oh, you found me through his Discord? Ah, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, I was on Jack's stream like 2 months ago, and we have a rain check for him to come on my stream. We just haven't gotten a good time to do so. Science teacher never leaves you. You sound like me. If you break down ATP synthase into the root words, you should know what it is. Yeah. I literally was saying that to my own class this week because we're learning about things like enhancers or repressors. And it's like, you guys, what does it sound like they do? Okay. So what do I want to search for next? Silicon nucleotides. Okay. I don't think these exist. See, I already clicked on this before. There's two problems with I gotta play Silicon Girl by Eiffel 65. No, I'll get like flagged for copyright infringement. Eiffel 65, famous for being litigious. That's not true. Or at least I don't know if that's true. That's probably a lie. Okay. So, alien nucleotides. So we talked on a stream that I honestly don't remember if you were there or not, David, and others here, about whether or not silicon could provide an alien form of life, right? So silicon has some of the possible properties that we would want. So it can form chains, it can form bonds with all sorts of different types of atoms, and it can form branching structures. So here, like this decasilane isomer versus this tetramethylhexane, they look very similar. They're forming bonds with hydrogens and themselves. This long chain right here that possibly could like contribute to long chain fatty acids, although I don't see any hydrogens. Oh, this is sulfur. Oops, that's sulfur. Never mind. That's not silicon. But anyways, can silicon sort of act as the basis? The answer is on Earth, probably not. So we've got some problems here. First and foremost is the amount of energy that is between these different bonds. The carbon-carbon bond is just better for life, at least life as we understand it. And what is sort of a pretty big problem is that the sort of not most basic bond, but actually probably the most common bond, carbon to a hydrogen, although it's stable at aqueous solutions, so water, which is the universal solvent that we require for life. Silicon hydrogen is very susceptible to hydrolysis, so it breaks down very, very easily. Carbon supremacist, are we? I might be a little bit. Just a little bit. Well, we just don't understand the chemistry of like what this type of life, what would be required for these different types of bonds. I even forget what this one is. That's theoretical chemical diversity. Yeah, so they mentioned some compounds that do have silicon in them, and some of them look sort of like what you might expect a biological compound to be. But even on these, they sort of cheat by having carbons. So maybe you could imagine sort of a mix. Okay. So in summary, what that means is, if we're talking about DNA, for DNA, the most important thing, ATP structure, is if we look at the molecular structure of one of these compounds that's in DNA. Ignore these two phosphate groups, but you know, all these little turns are carbons. We probably can't replace those carbons with silicons using the chemistry that we understand. Those blue crystals from early SG1. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't like him. I hate that episode. You're thinking about the new classification systems that you would have to be created to discover non-carbon-based life. LOL. If we discovered it, you mean? Yeah, just think about it. Like, everything that we know, all the tools that we have are sort of tuned to carbon-based life form, at least in the laboratory. So could you do genetic sequencing on it? No. Could you do mass spectrometry on it? No. So any of the molecular biology stuff, straight out the window. You know, as molecular biologists, we use enzymes every day. Suddenly, every single protein that we use as a tool, not gonna work. Just won't work for you. And also, yes, this is my favorite molecule. I actually thought about getting a tattoo of it, but then I didn't, and now it's 10 years later. If Unity invades Earth, he is so screwed. Everything regarding nitrogen is kind of dangerous, isn't it? Dangerous? Not really. Nitrogen is super important for life, but there are some really deadly nitrogenous compounds. So, cyanide being one of them. Not good. But it's sort of, you know, I don't know, incidental that has a nitrogen. There's also a lot of explosive nitrogen completing compounds. Pretty sure, yeah. But they also contain a lot of carbon. So this is TNT. Also has a lot of carbons. Okay, that's actually a really cool idea, LOL. You would do that. I would get... I would even do it for and on stream, but for like a ridiculous number of like subs and followers. That's like a stretch goal for like 5 years from now. You just know Foof being an absolute mess. You mean like, hold on, what? Is that like Foof? Oh, oh. Yeah, okay, that's yeah, that's because you got these yikes, these fluorines, those oxygens. No, I actually did not know this existed. This is how does this even exist? It can exist as an orange colored solid which melts into a red liquid at -136. It is a very strong oxidant. Yeah, well, of course it is. It has an onomatopoetic nickname, Foof. It reacts vigorously with nearly every chemical it encounters, including ordinary ice. Yeah. So what does this actually break down into? Because I wonder if it makes sort of reactive oxygens. It probably depends. There's no current practical applications. This is cool. I did not know about this molecule. I'm now going to remember this molecule. One of your kids came up with the driveway, the house, and the sun for nucleotide structure. You thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think, how did my high school biology teacher described it as like a house, a satellite dish, and then like a cable antenna or something like that. Whoa. Wow, thank you, anonymous gifter. 5 tier 1 subs to the community. That's amazing. And unfortunately that doesn't trigger the little thingy, but Yeah, so gifted VMC Fun. Arga got, got sucked into Twitch. Polymeracer. Muchin 88. And Homozygote. People lurking there. Oh yeah, and the rave. I want another rave. That's awesome. Thank you, somebody. Things you're sure you do not need to know for your general chemistry course, but which are interesting nonetheless. I mean, agreed. I should check out the Things I Won't Work With blog. I've heard of this. I don't go to it very often, or I don't read it though. Let me check this out on my other screen quick. Things I won't. Yeah, but thank you for the anonymous sub-gifter. That's very generous of you. That actually does push the goal that I don't have on screen of getting 25 subs. That pushes it a good way of the way there. Someday. Yeah, the first thing that comes up, things I won't work with, dioxygen difluoride. Yes, I remember reading a couple of these. They're usually very scary. I know this is like the point of a rabbit hole stream, but I really wanted to talk about nucleotides. But I'll look at this first. Okay, so the experimental... Oh, here's how the experimental prep works. For dioxygen difluoride, which I'm just going to say FOOF. The heater was warmed to approximately 700 C. The heat block glowed a dark red color, observable with the room lights off. The ballast tank was filled to 300 torr with oxygen, and fluorine was added to the total pressure of 901 torr. What is torr pressure? I have never heard of this unit. Unit of pressure based on an absolute scale. Interesting. So 1 torr is exactly this many pascals. So what is, okay, copy, what did they say it was? 901 torr. So that times 901. Okay, what does that mean to me? Pascals. I have no sense of scale. I do not understand what that means. High pressure. Okay. Anyways. And yes, what you think next happens, and yes, what happens next is just what you think happens. You run a mixture of oxygen and fluorine through a 700-degree heating block. Oh no, you don't, is the common reaction of most chemists to that proposal. Not unless I'm at least a mile away, 2 miles if I'm downwind. And this is the direct route to preparing dioxygen difluoride, often referred to as FOOF. That's pretty great. It was first prepared in Germany in 1932 by Ruff and Menzel, who must have been likely lads indeed, because it's not like people didn't respect fluorine back then. No, elemental fluorine has been commanded respect since before anyone managed to isolate it. Wow. Yeah, this also means nothing to me. Anyways, this is a cool read. I'm going to put this on the Discord. I haven't read this one, but I think this guy has, he's definitely written other ones about this. I don't know what else. Yeah, I'm going to link this to Discord really quick. We'll call this, this is primary literature. I trust this guy. I'll put that in primary literature. There we go. Okay. Nucleotides, though. Yeah. So we were talking about alien nucleotides. So they have these things called xenonucleotides. or nucleic acid analogs. Basically things that sort of have take on, so this right here, so this is the phosphate backbone, or what becomes part of the phosphate backbone. Then you have the sugar right here, and then you have a nitrogenous base. The nitrogenous base is the thing that contributes to base pairing, so A with T, C with G, unless you're talking about RNA, and then it's A with U. But this is the thing that is like the ATCG. This is the code right here. This is the only variable thing. We sort of figured out that, well, we can actually change and alter what these are. I think you can also alter, differences in sugar backbones. But you can change the nitrogenous bases. I'm just wondering what exactly are some of these nitrogenous bases. So let me get rid of some of these. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Already I see something very cool. So this one has like a double information. So this base has 2. It looks like they're linked pairs of a, what would that be? Pure as gold. So a purine and a pyrimidine. Like a non-pentose sugar. Yeah, I was just skimming that bit. Let's actually look back in. I think it sort of depends. So they actually give synthetic...
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you...
Okay, that one scared me too. That one wasn't supposed to scare me, but that one absolutely scared me. Oh. Anyways, I just see laughing emojis. Emotes, I mean. Nucleic acid analog. I just kind of want to see some of these. So they mention H&A could be used. So let's look this one up. Give me a picture, please. XNA, or H&A. So this is it right here. Okay, yeah, so almost frizzle, it isn't a pentose. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a hexose. B, I don't know if by B they mean a base. They must. So this 1, 5, and hydrohexatol. There you go. You were not looking at the chat at all. Completely blindsided. You're still so glad you can see the redemptions before they appear. Oh, yeah. If I kept my eyes glued... See, I'm at a disadvantage, too. I'm not watching chat directly. I check back, obviously, but I'm usually reading something on my other screen. And it's the sound that scares me. You thought it'd make me be mean? No, I don't want to be mean. You're getting extra with it, yeah. Yeah, anyways, so this is kind of the thought. I don't know what these experimentalists here were doing. I guess we can read. Okay, wait, but let me back up. Like, why would you want to do this? So, this is not in preparation for, like, meeting aliens someday and understanding how their biology works, but it kind of is a interesting test case for it, right? So like a month ago at this point, we were putzing around with R, trying to convert images into DNA sequences, something I still want to get back to. And we basically had this thought that every sort of pixel could be contained using quaternary. So you have binary, which is zeros and ones. You have trinary, which is 0, 1s, and 2s. Quaternary is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And then you can go all the way up to something like hexadecimal, which uses 16 bases. And that lets you sort of shrink down the amount of information into smaller and smaller numbers of, I don't even know what the right term is. So DNA obviously is sort of, it works just fine. But our biology is sort of kept in by these 4 bases, A, T, C's, and G's. There's complementary base pairing. But the idea of ZNAs is, okay, let's swap out that base, that nitrogenous base. Or, in I guess this one case, let's swap out that ribose, that sort of the house part that Alt-Miss Frizzle suggested. Yeah, and as you also said, you're intrigued by the idea of 2 bases on this backbone. Yeah, so they also have one that rather than having just like a pyrimidine or a purine, they have a pyrimidine and a purine. I think that's a pyrimidine. Because I think these are, yeah, that's uracil and that's adenine. I only know because I'm right there. Redeemed random science fact? Ugh. Why am I reacting like that? I'm the one who put this there. Okay, my random science fact is related to uracil. This is a random science fact as long as I'm remembering correctly. Random science fact is that it's hypothesized that uracil is used in RNA because uracil can be naturally formed in part by UV radiation hitting certain nitrogenous and carbon-containing compounds, and that it sort of circularizes like this. So the idea is, in an RNA world, pre-cellular life, well, where you're going to get a lot of the energy required for chemical synthesis, it's going to be the sun. And UV radiation is a good one of those. I don't believe UV radiation allows for, I think thiamine is actually very sensitive to UV radiation. So thiamine was like a later addition to the DNA toolkit. Anyways, that was a sort of half-assed science fact. I'm pretty sure that's like 90% true. Thymine is in love with adenine forever, but adenine is cheating on thymine with uracil when RNA comes around. Oh, that's true. So true. Okay, so they're giving a couple interesting things. Yeah, I love this dye base one. So wait, what are they doing here? Okay. Let's actually read the abstract. You learned something today, and that's what you remember about uracil too. Okay, then it must not be false. So XNAs are artificial genetic systems based on sugar-modified nucleotides. Oh, sugar-modified. Wait, then what are the base-modified ones? I must have missed something. Ah, I lost my place. Maybe I'm mixing up analogs versus XNAs. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay. I'm mixing something up totally here. XNAs have a different sugar backbone, and nucleotide analogs must be when you change out the nucleotide itself. Okay, wow. There's actually more here than I thought there was. Anyways, XNAs are artificial genetic systems based on sugar-modified nucleotides. Herein, we investigate double-headed nucleotides. That's cool. As a new XNA. A new monomer, AT, is presented, and together with previous double-headed nucleotide monomers, new nucleic acid motifs consisting of up to 5 consecutive AT base pairs have been obtained. Sections composed entirely of double-headed nucleotides are well tolerated within the DNA duplex and can condense the genetic information. Like physically? For instance, I guess we find out. For instance, a 13-mer duplex is condensed to an 11-mer modified duplex containing 4 double-headed nucleotides while simultaneously improving duplex thermostability with plus 14C. Also, the transfer of information from double-headed to natural nucleotides by DNA polymerases has been examined. The first double-headed nucleotide phosphate was prepared but could not be recognized and incorporated by the tested DNA polymerases. On the other hand, it proved possible for the Terminator DNA polymerase to transfer the information of a double-headed nucleotide in a template sequence to natural DNA under controlled conditions. Wow, that's actually really cool. Like, very cool. Oh, one more unit until DNA. Awesome. RNA is much greater than DNA. Oh yeah, David, if you have a question, you should ask. Okay, so this is interesting. So yeah, they basically say like, okay, look at this 13 mer, meaning that there's 13 bases going down on the left side and up on the right side. They can condense them down to 11 just because they're sort of concatenating these all together. I do kind of wonder what that looks like physically. Like, is the molecule actually smaller? Is it that condensed? Because if you're talking about, like, okay, if you count the number of actual nitrogenous bases, it's the same number. You're just counting the sugar backbone, the sugar phosphate backbone. So is it really an 11 mer? I don't know. Okay, we got prion diseases. You know how prions work on a basic level. Could we engineer some proteins that could stop the destructive work of prions, not even reverse their actions, just block them from doing more damage? And Brian, you know of a few labs that are working on designing proteins to prevent their aggregation. Yeah. Yeah, I defer to Brian on that one. I mean, conceptually, that would sort of make sense, right? So you would almost like, I mean, how would I design it? Not that I am that good of a protein biochemist. So prions work by aggregating specific proteins, right? These specific proteins misfold, not unfold, but misfold in the presence of other misfolded protein. And that creates aggregates that cause all sorts of cellular damage, which when it occurs in your brain, kills neurons and you eventually will die. But what if you could introduce a artificial protein that like had the binding site that a prion would bind to, but then when it misfolded, blocked its own or something like that? So a prion would hit it, it would misfold the whole thing, but then block the formation of the next. Yeah, so a lot of in silico protein design is trying to occupy the interfaces where they interact. And David, you are exactly saying what that means. Tell the protein to shut the fuck up, basically. Yes, because proteins are just squishy Legos that bonk into each other. If you interrupt the interface between them, they can't interact. 99.999% of those interactions are useful or benign, but prions, when those interactions occur, that's when you get the disease. Squishy Legos is how I describe biochem or molecular biology to my students. They seem to enjoy it. They chuckle every time. And I think it's accurate. It's really accurate. Okay. So yeah, like the organisms would use less sugars to store their genetic information and be more efficient. Maybe? I mean, we've got a lot of processes that kind of control the production of nucleotides. And I mean, I don't know if the limiting, if they don't have enough nucleotides to copy their DNA, I think they basically just don't go through it. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like on the whole, that's like on the order of the whole genome, that's probably a lot of nucleotides you don't have to make. I don't know. Let's see what actually they say it's useful for. So, blah, 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 blah. Many XNAs have useful biological applications such as aptamers, I can never say that word, and antisense oligonucleotides. Importantly, XNAs provide orthogonal system for storage of genetic information. Translation from XNA to DNA and back might be possible. Oh, might not be possible. if you could stick two bases to one sugar and keep all the same information, then why not? Well, Mr. Frizzell, I'll tell you why not. Because the winding of the DNA around like that helical axis is very important to the regulation of DNA elements within that DNA. By expanding or contracting it, you potentially, within an entire organism, if you like swapped all of these out within a single nucleus, you could absolutely be screwing up everything from a regulatory standpoint, right? So I was actually going to look at RC, there we go, protein database. I'm going to look up XNA and see if anyone has like crystallized, got the actual structure. Fana. So, wait, wasn't Fana one of them? Wasn't Fana one of the... Fana. Okay, so yeah, they have... Okay, I don't know what this one is, so I gotta look up this structure quick. Fana nucleotide. Oh, all this talk about nucleotides reminds me, by the way, my whole genome sequencing test is at the company finally. It's awaiting QC. If they don't like it, they will be sending it back so they can get more blood. Otherwise, I'm just kind of waiting for them to throw it on the sequencer. So Fana apparently just has a fluorine. So that just kind of alters a little bit of that sort of structure on the base. Yeah. Oh yeah, it would have to be a new life form, you feel like, but it would be like, wow, maybe we discovered a life form lazier than us, maybe. Yeah. That also sort of, wait, let's think about this. I think that's also like from an evolutionary standpoint could be worse, right? Because worse. What do I mean by worse? So when you have a mutation, you are like a single nucleotide mutation. You are swapping out one nucleotide, one phosphate, one sugar, one base, right? Except that the only thing is that the only thing different is that base. Now there's deletions, insertions, all those sort of things. But if this were to be mishandled in some way, rather than losing one, you're automatically losing two. Losing two or changing two, or if it was in a mixed system where there were single and double-headed nucleotides, you possibly could be inserting a whole one. Yeah, so you think it would make a lot more room for errors in replication or transcription. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the errors could compound. I don't even know what the math would be, right? So how would you even describe that? It's like if you have X chance of an error in one nucleotide, well, now you might have some increased chance only because one difference will cause two differences. And so maybe not render like, and who knows what that would do? It depends on where in the gene, right? Is that causing a nonsense mutation? Is there going to be a truncation? Is there going to be a frame shift? Is it going to change something regulatory? Yeah, there's a lot of problems, but honestly, the artificial storage of information could be an interesting sort of path for this. Because if this is not, but here, I'm gonna, so they say Terminator. I'm gonna search Terminator and see what the heck that is. Because if this is like a useful way to store information in DNA, like non-genetic information, then I'm very interested. Because one of the things that I'm sort of like have sort of been confused by is the idea of putting information into DNA, because as we kind of have seen via our own little experiments changing images into DNA, that's still a lot of DNA, even for like a fairly simple image. But if you can sort of cut that down, that'd be great, first of all. And second of all, if it wasn't actually like compatible with life, that potentially could be useful too. You know, enzymes that break down DNA require it to be literally DNA. Maybe enzymes can't break down, like DNases, maybe they can't break down double-headed nucleotides. Okay, so they use DNA polymerases that collectively lack the 3' to 5' exonuclease activity, and use TAC, the clean out fragment, and then Terminator, which is derived from Pyrococcus species and Thermococcus species, blah blah, DNA polymerases. The latter, Thermococcus, was chosen for its ability to use several modified nucleotide triphosphates in the synthesis of nucleic acids. 2 citations. Interesting. All right, so they basically were just able to get it to incorporate. How do they actually tell? TTT. Okay. Yeah, you didn't think about enzyme specificity. Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't fit in the binding pocket of a protein's active site, it's not going to work. So let's see. Overview of the primer extensions demonstrating the ability of Terminator to recognize UA. So let's actually look at new page. So it looks like they did not do incorporation of the UA and AT or whatever, but this Terminator polymerase does actually use it to base pair. I mean, they're basically just showing. Currently lacking, blah, blah, blah. Ah, interesting. So the polymerase wasn't even enough. They had to use 2 enzymes. It got past it, but then it sort of conked out after that. Potentially because of some weird twist being put on the DNA. Okay, so that's cool. What though? What is I still wanted to look at nucleobase analogs, nucleic acid analogs. Ah, here we go. So this is what I mean every time I say base pairing. So we have a G and a C, and they base pair with hydrogen bonding. Although, as it's been recently explained to me, well, not explained, but told to me, that hydrogen bonding between nucleotides actually isn't the major driver of specificity. It's like, or something like that. That's not what keeps the DNA strands together. It's actually base stacking. So pi orbitals interacting and such, but I don't really understand the details. Anyways, A's and T's. So that's what we get. But then we have unused base pair arrangements. So interesting. So these are, I guess, are nucleotide analogs or nucleic acid analogs that already exist. So cyanophage has diaminopurine or DAP. It base pairs perfectly with thiamine. Interesting. Then we have isoguanine, isocysteine. And then DAP and xanthine. Electrons go wee. Yeah. Pi electrons. Can't control them. Okay, so DAPT. Then we have X. Which one's X? Xanthine. Xanthine and DAP. And then IGIC. Yeah. So we basically already have these. Oh, hey. This is what we really want. Novel base pairs with special properties. Okay. So, correct DNA structure can form even when the bases are not paired via hydrogen bonding. That is, the base pairs, thanks to hydrophobicity, as studies have shown, using DNA isosteres, which are analogs with the same number of atoms, such as thymine, blah, blah, blah. So we can make fluorescent bases, metal coordinated bases, universal bases that universal bases may pair indiscriminately with any other base, but in general have a lower melting temperature of the sequence considerably. Examples are hypoxanthine deoxynucleotide derivatives and nitrazole analogs, hydrophobic, blah, blah, blah. They're proof of concept and not utilized in degenerate primers. Okay, so these are just useful as placeholders. That's kind of cool. Ooh, xDNA. Ooh, gonna look at that. The numbers of possible base pairs is doubled when xDNA is considered. xDNA contains expanded bases in which a benzene ring has been added, which may pair with canonical bases, thus resulting in 4 possible base pairs. So ZOIC, ZAT, not Z, X, XAT, XTA, XEG, XGC. 16 bases if the unused arrangements are used. I don't know what that means. Another form of benzene added bases is Y-DNA, which the base is widened by the benzene. Okay, that's cool. That's actually what I want to look at next. Ooh. I see, yeah. You really are just making these much wider. So that's cool. So yeah, so that just gives you more bases to use. I wonder if here, I'm just gonna search polymerase. So thus far, X nucleobases have been added to strands of DNA using chemistry, as traditional polymerases have been unsuccessful in synthesizing xDNA. Ah, that's sad. X nucleotides are poor candidates as substrates for bDNA polymerases, as their size interferes with the binding at the catalytic domain. Ah, very, very sad. Okay. David, you're out. Yeah. Have a good night. I actually probably should head out pretty soon too. It's already 10:15 and it's class day tomorrow. Yeah. So xDNA is pretty cool, but I think I am going to have to stop there now that I realize the time. Oh, they go even further. YDNA, YYDNA, and XXDNA. Crazy. Well, that's too bad. So yeah, once again, if you didn't hear before, I do not have a stream this Sunday. I have to miss this Sunday again, unfortunately. Sorry. My vacations are very backloaded for the summer, so I'm taking my vacations now. Next Wednesday, hopefully, I'll have someone to come on and talk with us about chromosomes, chromosome pairing, selfish chromosomes, kind of in the context of like, okay, how do all those alien races in things like Star Trek, how do they actually reproduce together? Oh, homozygote, freckled science, and science streams are all on. Homozygote is on? What day is it? It's Wednesday. That's good to know, though. Yeah, so maybe talking about some alien pairings and how that may or may not work. We'll have to sit down, draw some chromosomes, and figure it out. So I can't guarantee that's next Wednesday, but that is an upcoming Wednesday. So yeah, stick around for the raid. Thank you for that anonymous donor if you're still there. Let's see. Mozart. Yeah, let's go join other Marcus. It's rare. It's unusual for him to be streaming during or on a Wednesday, so we should go join. How far are we away from new emotes? That's a good question. Also, thanks, James. I was a fun stream. So we are 7 away from unlocking a new tier, which 7 subs. Honestly, not that worth it. But I think we are about 10 streams away from a new free tier of subs that everyone can use. Or free tier of emotes. Oh, he mentioned a few Wednesday streams for the next month. All right, well there we go. Okay, but good question, Brian. Okay, thank you everyone for coming. We are going to raid Homozygote, also known as other Marcus, I guess. Thanks everyone for stopping by, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Which?
Dreamer. Of all the ancient knowledge.
Doctor. Ben.
The experiments of Dr. Fane. I'm simply a scientist.
He's a research biologist.
What kind of biology?
Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular. Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular.
Molecular. Molecular. Honest researcher.
Performing.
Laboratory experiments.
I'm detecting a quantum flux in your